Okay, the time is now 7 o'clock. I'd like to call this Town of Plainfield Board of Selectmen meeting to order. Ask you please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And roll call.
Tom St.
Kevin Cunningham.
Mike Supran.
Item C, I know it's going to be difficult because you weren't part of the meeting, but if you've got the minutes in your packet, you could read through if you have questions. Or we can just have it to approve the minutes from the November 10th.
I was physically at that meeting in the audience, and I also went back and reviewed the video, so I personally am comfortable having been there and for the discussion.
In that case, do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve Board of Selectmen meeting minutes from 11/10/25.
Okay, I can second that. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item D, which is public comment. Does anybody here from the public wish to speak tonight?
You go first. And I'll love you.
And if you wouldn't mind, if you would mind giving your name so she can record it properly.
My name is Heather Kirkhope. I'm from A&H Transport Services. And in the last meeting, the vote was 2-1 in favor of the snow bid for 2025-2026 in our favor. At which time we went out and we purchased more equipment and repaired vehicles that needed to be repaired and readied them for the snow season. And Thursday, I believe it was 2020, is the date? The envelope was 11/17. We received a letter in the mail reviewing the actions, stating a change in it due to an ordinance of 115. 115 states that you must live in the town of Plainfield. Now, in this particular snow bid, nobody that submitted a bid lives in the town of Plainfield. And the gentleman that was, or the company, excuse me, that was, quote, the correct winner, according to my letter, of snow removal, does not live in the town. His equipment is based out of Sterling. And none of the people that were in that bid lived in the town. Now, I want to know why this particular ordinance comes into effect. Because it doesn't. Do you physically, does the gentleman that is with that company physically live in Plainfield?
Okay, Heather, we'll have that on our agenda. That will be discussed.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else from the audience wish to speak? Public comment?
Yeah, Gary Stowe, Warning Moosup. I was talking to our finance director about the $45,000 you proposed for the roof for the bus garage, about checking to see what the balance is for the LoSiP money, and use it out of there versus the fund balance or something like that. See what we have there. And also, I would still be interested in if you got any openings for the capital strategic planning committee. So, and that's it.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Peggy Gordon, Pondale Road. At the last meeting, both of those bids were bid on, and it was brought to your attention at that time that they need to have someone living in the town of Plainfield. So I was wondering why they're back on the thing, back on the agenda.
Okay. Again, we will discuss that when we get to that
Okay,
motion.
but what you discussed, we have more questions on. We can't ask you at that time. This is public comment.
And that's what it is, public comment.
Right, but we're asking you a question.
Right. Peggy, I promise we will bring that up when we get to that
I know you're gonna bring it up, but what I'm saying to you is this, if we have follow-up questions at that time, once you bring it up, we have no avenue to ask the question. So my question is, why is it being brought up again?
I can just summarize it by saying I had a discussion with the town attorney over this,
Mhm.
and leave it at that until we get into this. I'm not gonna go back and forth with a debate on it.
I'm not debating, I'm asking a question, there's a difference.
And I give you the answer.
A good one.
Anybody else?
Zach with Dorsey's Landscaping and Stone Walls. I had never said that I lived in Plainfield. My mailing address is Moose Up. But I also have a question on why a town employee is calling me and asking me about this bid. Maybe you can consult your attorney with it.
I don't have an answer for you right now.
Okay.
Anybody else from the public wish to speak?
Lois Point, 942 Norris Road, Plainfield. I had a question about the finance director, not the new person. What the practice is of the hiring of the finance director, because the other finance director resigned. But I don't recall seeing any job advertisement for it. I don't recall it being on any agenda, and who did the hiring and what the contract is. It didn't go to the Board of Finance. And this is their first time meeting, so I'm not sure if it happened at the last meeting or this meeting, but I didn't see any of that in any of the agendas. I might be mistaken, but I hope that will be cleared up for you to get that on the agenda.
Well, I will definitely clear that up, so.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Naomi Smith, Plainfield. I submitted a letter for the capital strategic planning, so I'm hoping that we're going to have discussion on that tonight. My question is, with this committee, why is this even on the agenda tonight? Because I attended the first meeting that committee had, and now all of a sudden, there's like a redo on this, and I didn't understand what went on in the procedure.
I will answer that when we get there.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. We can go into item E, which is old business, that public informational meeting to review the 4 proposed ordinances, 143, 44, 45, and 46. I gave you in your packets documentation to read through. If you have any questions at this point, this would be a good time.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. I just want to make sure that you understood that on the last one, it was listed as 126 during the discussion, but you have to renumber it properly, so it's 146. That was the first thing. The other thing you'll note is that it's a little different there. It talks about two items that we want to see changed. One was the dollar value for the program sets at 250, where it was at 100 before. When you do that calculation as to what the maximum can be done out of that, on section number, it says limitation on credit granted. There's a number there that used to be a much smaller number, like I think it was 35. That has to be changed to match your increase. So that's why I said 50,000. Those are the only two. What is your pleasure on this? Would you like to bring it to a public informational meeting, which would be first public informational meeting in case we find issues or concerns? We can always go back to make modifications before we bring it to a town meeting.
Yeah, I think it needs to get sent to a town meeting. I attended a number of the Board of Selectmen meetings where it had been discussed by the Board of Selectmen previously, and a lot of my questions were actually answered during those discussions, but the public definitely needs an opportunity to come out, listen to the presentation as far as what's changing in this, and be given the opportunity to ask questions on it, so I think it's time to set the public meeting for these.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff going on around the holidays as well. I would just caution that if we try doing it too close to holidays, it also impacts ability to people to get out. So I would suggest
January.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to send the 4 proposed ordinances, 143, 44, 45, and 46, to an informational meeting with the public sometime in January.
Okay, what would you like for that date? Problems that we have are always making sure we don't have it on the same night of a board meeting of other boards. Usually, Thursdays are pretty good. I think the only thing we have on Thursdays on a regular basis is the Economic Development Commission. When were you meeting on that? What nights were you?
It would be the 18th of December is when you see it.
Oh, what about January, those? Making a motion for January.
And January would be the 15th, or the 22nd, not 7th, 15th, because that's.
So you would have it on the 22nd, so how about if we look for the 15th? Thursday the 15th, okay with you?
Actually, what I was looking at the top, so the first is a Thursday, so the 15th is actually the third Thursday.
So the 22nd then?
Yeah, so 22nd.
7 o'clock?
I would second that, the 22nd.
So to reiterate that the motion is to have a public informational meeting in January 22nd, 7 o'clock at the Plainfield Town Hall. Mike, is that your
Yes,
motion?
that's my motion.
Thank you. And a second?
Yeah, I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the public information meeting will allow us to make any modifications at a last minute if we need to. Next up on the agenda is F1 new business. You'll see a listing there that was totaled up to for tax collection. This is for tax refunds from different groups. Grand total is $1907.92. The companies or parties that were going to get refunds were looking for multiple for Toyota Lease and Trust for $459.95. Again, $199.39, $270.89, $215.44, $307.74, $208.73, $183.85, and the last one from Toyota Lease Trust for $27.96. John J. Hurley III, $16.24, and Kenneth R. Perrin, $17.73 for a grand total of $1907.92.
I'll make a motion to refund all of the overpaid taxes in the total of $1907.92.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next one up, according to our charter, says election of officers as stated in the town charter 91A. So what's your pleasure there?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Mike as the acting for selectman in your absence. He's got, of course, a lot of.
You're skipping one. Officers.
Yeah.
Let's go for chair.
I would like to make a motion to nominate you chair.
Second.
Then I'll make the nomination to nominate Mike. Second.
Secretary.
And then I'll nominate myself for secretary.
You made that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Now we can go into acting. That's number 3 on the agenda. Section 6.4 says for the acting selectman within 30 days after the effective date, we have to each pick a acting first selectman in case of absence.
My only concern about that is, Tom, is you also do work in town.
Mhm.
So if something needed to be done or anything, it would be a lot easier for you to obviously execute something during the day or something during the day. That was my only.
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly, you know, if Kevin became incapacitated and you had to be acting, I mean, I'm right here, obviously, I would support you. I would, you know, even if need be, take some vacation time, you know, to support you in whatever time frame that was. I think you're a good fit for it with your years, of course, with emergency services, emergency management. So that was my thought on it. So I would make a motion for Mike to be acting.
I can second that. Any other nominations? Motion to close nominations.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion for Mike to be the acting first selectman. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item 4, I've gone through and took a look at all the dates that you have for 2026. This is what we have to give to the town clerk, so they have a record of it and they can put it up on the town website. Any days there that Might not work for you?
No, not that we know of, I know of yet, so I'd make a motion that we use the dates that you recommended.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Town Council, Section 8.2, the Board of Selectmen shall appoint a resolution to adopt a meeting held no later than March 15th. The Town Council will serve as term for 1 year. I'll be very blunt about it. I like Schuster and Shapiro. They've done a very good job. They're also one of the more efficient groups. The only problem, and I told them this, I said I wouldn't mind nominating you to come back again, but I have to see some improvement on your reaction to when we actually give you a request to get a reply back. And it wasn't so much the land use, it was actually Christie Keller. So I talked to, Rich Cody is the attorney for that group. I talked to him about this and he said he would make sure this works and updates his partners on this so that we can move efficiently. So with that, I felt comfortable with it. I told him it was year by year, so it has to improve.
Do you have any information for us to consider of other law firms that do municipal legal counsel?
If you want that, and that's fine, we can table this for the next meeting, and I can share as much as I can with you.
I think that's a good idea, because I'm not happy with how they handle, obviously, the whole problem with the police department. I know they were brought in, and they were used for that too, and that didn't obviously get rectified.
Yep.
And that's what you have.
I can take the motion to table, but I have a question before we do that.
Yep.
What are the items that you're looking for? Are you looking for past history, cost, where their firm is located?
I think cost is very important.
Anything else?
No, the only thing I'm curious of is, do we know how, I know that not every law firm obviously does this kind of work for municipalities, so I'm guessing there's a limited number that we have to look.
Eastern part of the state, you're probably looking at about 5,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah. So no, just the basic information about, I could do some compare and contrast of, let's say, those 4 or 5, that we can get and
Sure.
see what it would be in comparison to Schuster and Shapiro.
All right, entertain a motion at this point to table this.
I'll make a motion that we table appointing town council via resolution for the town charter section 8-2.
Okay, got a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Next one up, we are looking for someone to serve on the ethics board. I know I gave you in your packet a few people, but I just received this today.
There's 3 people who put in for it. One of the 3 just withdrew as of tonight. I don't know if you're aware of that, Tom.
No.
One of the individuals withdrew. So your 2 names out there basically now is the A.J. O'Connell, who gave basically a brief bio, and the Rachel Bamber. I would like to make a motion that we put A.J. O'Connell onto the board, if that's acceptable to both of us. His bio is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I will note that we did have time to review the other candidates, and so I did review A.J. O'Connell, and yeah, I do think that he would be somebody who could be on ethics.
So you made a motion?
Yes,
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Other than I appreciate the fact people came out and put their name forward, so. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, next up, we're talking about on item number 7. This is discussion and act on sand for ice and snow bid. I did mention to you that I talked to the attorney about these issues. He wanted to review both the procurement policy and ordinance number 115. Just to me, it's pretty straightforward on the sand bid that we need to look for an award to K&H.
I'm just a bit concerned about this, Kevin, just because of the fact that it was acted on at the last meeting, I saw it, and now we have to change that, and I feel that if we don't put this back out, if we don't give another fair opportunity, I don't know that this is doing a lot of good for our local business who maybe they would want to make an adjustment to a second bid that they would want to put into this. I honestly thought that because it was acted on at the last meeting, I thought it was a done deal, but now we're revisiting it, and I think I think that if we're gonna redo it, that we need to give opportunity,
By opportunity, what do you mean?
go out to bid.
If you're going out to bid now at this time of year, it could be very difficult. You have to have some leeway time to have it done. Again, this is something that I discussed with the town attorney. This was his suggestion. Just fixing the motion from the previous meeting, it would be appropriate, but you have to have it in front of you what it is.
My problem is everybody obviously knows the numbers for Desjardins, the
Yeah.
Sewanee, Shoreline, and K&H now. So if we go back out to bid, that's the problem. I know the bar is set.
Yeah, I mean, just on the flip side, it's like, I obviously don't want to, ruin relations with potential companies in the future either.
Right.
And be ticking some off. It's like, I wanna, I'm hoping in the future that we'll have some of these companies return and wanna come out to bid for us, but it just seems that with the way this went, having acted on the last meeting and now have to do this again, I don't think it sets a good tone, obviously, for, in the view, again, if you're viewing it as a business we wanted to bid on and help the town out in this area.
Obviously, maybe somebody was not happy about it. Well, looking at the prices and what they were, and on the face value, K&H was the lowest. I think the bid or the award was not done properly. I think we should move forward with awarding it to K&H because they were the cheapest bid and they are a local company.
Okay.
I would make a motion that we award the sand contract to K&H Construction out of Plainfield.
I will second that. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carries. All right. Next one up is the right one here.
Snow.
Yep. So this is for the act on the snow removal bid. Similar to that, I did have a discussion with the town attorney. I also have read through all the documentation again. I think you have the documentation in front of you in case you need it. But my concern was, and I did reach out to Zach, I did reach out to him and ask the question of the address. I asked the question, have a few follow-up questions for you based on the submission of your application. What would be the address you stated for your application? Can you explain the Moosup address as it does not appear to be an address listed in Moosup? Secondly, I asked about the listed equipment, that have any modifications been made to the current equipment in that list? Zach's reply was, yes, the property is located in Sterling, but the mailing address is in Moosup. The equipment specified is to the bid is accurate. In addition, 2 other fully equipped vehicles available if needed. My plan is to utilize approximately 3 equipped vehicles to perform required services with additional units to deploy if the project needs arise. Let me know if you have any additional clarifications if needed. So that's what I got back. Copy, I'm sorry to do that a little earlier, but that's I just read that out.
Obviously, we don't have a problem with this business being located in Sterling. It's his mailing address. He never said or conveyed to us that he was a business in the town. Just like the upper end of Mohegan area is all Danielson addresses. It is what it is. My only question on this bid is we have Nelts of Connecticut, who was the lowest bidder. They came in at $32,000, and we're not awarding it to them.
And my concern with that, as it was with the previous meeting, was the fact of where they're located. They're located in Franklin, and I've had a discussion with the highway supervisor about this, and having the snow issues and having vehicles come up from Franklin makes it very difficult. So that's why we actually did say they're going to bypass them and then bring it down to the other 2 bidders.
And you want to award it to Dorsey's Landscaping and Stone Wall?
My issue would be with Dorsey's, and again, it's a matter of what you put on the application. The application said it was Moosup. And that kind of leads you into the question we heard earlier tonight, which was about ordinance 115. Does that mean that I'm putting my address on there because it's trying to be, within alignment to that ordinance 115? You want to have if possible. Plainfield Town.
Well, you awarded it to somebody else, and if he wanted to invoke ordinance 115, he would have came in and said, I'm a local business, I reside in the town of Plainfield, I want to match that lowest bidder. He never did that.
Yep, that's,
You know?
but he was the lowest bidder, by 1,500, roughly 1,500.
Good.
That really is my concern, my issue is, you know, when you ask for an application, you ask for a bid, RFP tells you very specific ideas of what you're asking for.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the time sensitiveness in this. I mean, another thing, looking at this in retrospect, is perhaps next winter we need to be starting earlier in this process, so that we're not cutting it this close, because obviously at any point now there could be a snowstorm, or we need to do sand and snow removal. But still, you know, same deal, just like at the last meeting, you know, it's like it was acted on and now we're having to revisit this. I just hope I hope we don't have to go through this again for both sand and snow removal.
You have the information in front of you, what's your pleasure?
My opinion is that we award to the lowest bidder. You are requesting or asking to throw out the lowest bidder now because of where they're located, so the next lowest bidder. I would make a motion that we go with Dorsey's Landscaping as the lowest bidder, as it should have been initially.
I would second that.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor of Dorsey's, say aye.
Aye.
I'm going to abstain. Motion carries. Discussion, item number 9, discussion and act on creating a capital strategic planning committee. You have in front of you, hopefully, what was put forth for the, we'd like to be able to put a capital strategic planning committee together. As we all know, that the town assets, our buildings, really need to be evaluated, and I think the Board of Education did a great job of starting that off. They put together evaluations 2 years ago with the different buildings, what their needs for to fix up the buildings, put them forward. I thought that this would be a great opportunity to continue that work forward with the other buildings that are in our town. We have the highway, police, sewer, recreation. Those buildings need to be evaluated. And the whole intent is to look at, if you have a planning committee, to take a look at what the downfalls are, to the most important downfalls per building, and try to evaluate that with the public to bring that forward. Because we're eventually going to have to go out to buy to fix some of these items. They're not inexpensive items at all. I know when I was on the Board of Education way back in 2001, we were talking about the heating systems that were up at the school, Memorial School, Central School. Awful, absolutely awful. We've been losing money every year on that. They finally put that plan together to evaluate all the buildings, and that's what they'd like to be able to put forward to the town for a bond. But there's still other things we have to look at. What other building structure issues we have to take care of. So I think that putting that committee together is important. Hoping you feel the same way. I think we need to go forward with planning. It's very important to plan these things out.
Yeah, I have no issue with the scope of work for this committee. I think it is a good idea and something that we need to be doing for continuous improvement. Can we just look back as far as what happened when the initial committee met, like I think 2 times, and then essentially they were not, I don't know if they were officially appointed. It didn't sound like.
That's the problem. And it took us a while to figure that out. Unfortunately, it was too far down the line. We already had started up some meetings. And the issue was, it was not gone through the Board of Selectmen to start this committee. And then it was also not we didn't add on the people either properly. So that's why we're having on tonight's agenda.
Okay.
So it was brought to our attention that we really need to do that so that people can be voted on and then sworn in and start their work.
Right. Okay.
We had 6 different people put in for that board. obviously, I know every one of them personally, and I think they would all be good people to have on that board because of their backgrounds, their experience. I mean, you have Board of Ed has already been through it on there. You have local business people who actually bid these jobs and know the inner workings. All of our department heads don't know, obviously, as much as what this group is who put in. It would be my recommendation that everybody who put in, because this board doesn't have a limit of numbers, and if you wanted your department heads, you could have them on the board as like an ex officio, just to advise.
Yep.
Say this is a problem that we see in our building, we have uneven heating or whatever it may be. And, you know, we have a list of 6 people that I'd like to put on.
The first step is to actually create the committee.
Okay.
So we need the motion in order to go forward with that, to act on creating a capital strategic planning committee.
I'll make a motion that we create a capital strategic planning committee.
I will second that. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Now on to item 10, which is discuss and appoint members of the newly created capital strategic planning committee.
I'd make a motion to put Christy Haskell, Linda Jardin, Naomi Smith, Linda Fedor, Mike Broughton, and Joe Sangramano.
Excuse me,
Yes.
I mean, I know I'm out of order, but how about Gary Stallborn, who showed an interest as well?
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry, I didn't have that.
Just because I wasn't aware, I didn't see any public notice that went out on this, so it could have been, I just didn't see it.
Gary had mentioned it to me verbally. That he was
Sorry about that, Gary.
That's not a problem.
Just looking at my notes.
And it doesn't mean in the future we can't add more people, because I think that's appropriate to talk about that, whether it be department heads, but we have to be careful, like you said. Some people who we have on the board should be an advisory committee, an advisory position.
Right.
Our superintendent doesn't live in town, therefore he shouldn't be on the board, but he can definitely advise us with what's going on. So you have a motion for
Gary Stallborn, Christy Haskell, Linda Jardin, Naomi Smith, Linda Fedor, Mike Broughton, Joe Sangramano.
I'll second that motion for those members.
any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 11, discuss and act on appointment of town treasurer, financial officer, and department head. So, for those who don't know, we have in the audience with us tonight, Lisa Madden. She has been hired by me, but you have to have that official title. According to the charter, you have to have it done by the board of selectmen. So it is a town treasurer, financial officer, and then a department head. Do you mind doing something a little different, if you wouldn't mind, because the public hasn't even seen you. We have bios out there online, if you would mind just give a quick introduction.
Hi, everybody. How are you? All right, that's not so close. Hi, my name is Lisa Madden. I live in Woodstock. I am also the finance director of East Granby. I also am the regional revenue collector, or was, for Wyndham, Hampton, Chaplin, and Scotland. I have a finance degree from Bentley College. I started my career as the corporate controller for multiple hotels in Waltham, Massachusetts. I was the youngest Marriott corporate controller at that point in time. Then I also went to Ovations for the Cure, a nonprofit for ovarian cancer, where I was the director of operations and controller. And then 13 years ago, I moved to Connecticut and started as the assistant tax collector in Pomfret and moved my way up to the president of the State of Connecticut Tax Collectors Association. So I have 30 years of accounting and financial experience plus managerial experience. And I love people and I love numbers. So I'm hoping to have a lot of fun here. So thank you for welcoming me.
So according to the charter, section 8.4, town treasurer, financial officer will be appointed by the board of selectmen. So that's one of our charges. The other charge is in chapter 8, section 8.1. She's going to be a department head, so we have to also vote her on that. So at this point, I would take entertain a motion. Unless you have questions for her.
Yeah, question
Yeah.
here. Do we still have an acting finance director, being our former finance director, Kelly Vachon? I know that she had been working here on a part-time basis, but I didn't really know what's the timeline on that, like from when to when?
She resigned with a letter of resignation, so she's no longer. But she works just to take care of one item, and that is our audit.
Okay.
So she's working with the auditor and the Board of Education to make sure that the audit completes on the town side. That's all she's doing.
So that would, so she wouldn't conclude as of, assuming if we appointed Lisa.
She's already done she's already resigned all of those positions. No more department head, no more town, finance, director.
Right, no, I'm talking about, but you were just saying how she was assisting with the audit, that's what I'm talking about, is that would continue past today?
Yes.
That she would do that? Okay.
And what I'd like to do is be able to have the two of them meet, so eventually she could take that position over, but it's so late in the game right now.
Mhm.
We want to just make sure it moves forward.
Okay, do we have a contract for her?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Just like a subcontractor we have for the town of Plainfield, we have a building inspector has a subcontractor.
Right. So, Mike, I'm just curious, is that something that you were aware of? I didn't see anything in our, obviously, the packet, at least my packet, I didn't see anything regarding the current contract, finance director who was helping with the audit, and then I do know I spoke to the town clerk's office earlier today, and the proposed contract for Lisa was available through the town clerk, but that was as of today. A week or two ago, I don't think that was available to me. I don't know if it was available to you.
No.
To be able to review that. Do you have a copy of?
I don't have it right here, but if you have it, then you can look at it online as well.
Okay.
Smithy, I'll just say this, generically stated, it would be less money than what we're paying back.
Yeah, I just think that was just a point I wanted to make, was just that, I think before, the way the process worked, before we would officially appoint somebody, the board of selectmen, we as a group, and I know you were involved in the hiring process, but obviously Mike and I, being new to this, now, we did not review contract beforehand that would answer obviously basic information about the position, start date, and all that kind of stuff. I think that would have been helpful.
It's nothing different as far as language goes with what we had with Kelly.
And we don't obviously know what the language was with Kelly. So two things, being with Tom, I would like to see obviously what that contract is so we can see that. And number two, I would like a projection of when Kelly will be done. And what we have for a subcontract for her.
The easy answer is when Kelly would be done for the audit.
Yeah.
That would be the end of this year.
All right, so you're saying by January 1?
Yes.
Okay.
Met with the Board of Education today, we don't anticipate an extension. Really, just to be upfront about it, the Board of Education has done a really good job this year of getting things ready. The problem is the auditor is not returning emails or calls back in a timely fashion. If they had done that, we could have been done with the audit by now.
So remember that when you're choosing a new auditor, recommending which is
I
us.
already did.
All right.
Which is what we're doing next year.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
How much we paying Kelly?
Great question. What are we paying, Kelly?
$150 an hour, that's the contract, it's, same thing for other towns around us for that position. But she's only worked 2 hours. What is your pleasure on this?
Tom?
Well, I know that one thing is for sure, like, we can't go without a finance director for an extended period of time. I know that. It's just the concern of, between myself and Mike, I didn't know if we would feel as a group that we should have taken some time to review the contract prior to approving. Because obviously, once we make a motion and it gets acted on, it's done. There is no returning, obviously, to this.
Well, I'll be generic, it's the same contract that you had before except for less money. And if you have access to that, you've had access all along. So that contract, I just say it's the same exact one.
Yeah, the only thing that would have, besides the money, would have been start date. I know you and I talked about that. Did she officially start as of today, or did she start like tomorrow? Because we get approved as of now. Which other contract?
We can approve as of now.
Yeah. What do you think, Mike?
Obviously, the wheels have to keep moving here. And he is the person who does hire. I think, obviously a little bit more transparency with Tom and I, so we can look at that, we can ask questions, we can look it over. It would be great, and, saying it's the same contract as what Kelly has, but we don't know what Kelly's contract was. So, That would be great.
And I will say this, in the future, when you get the packet, and you have that type of a question, just give me a heads up and I'll make sure I get it all dated prior.
Okay.
The only other question I had was, back at the earlier November Board of Selectmen meeting, could this have been done when the Board of Selectmen needed to act on it and officially hire? Could that have been done at that meeting, or was that too early? Were you still in the interview process at that point?
We just finished up the interview process. We had interviews, couple.
Yeah, we had a few interviews, actually. It was advertised on CCM and the town website, just so you know. And that's how I found about it, was CCM.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And GFOA actually sent an email blast about it. And so I interviewed Linda and Kevin the
Also,
first time.
Dean.
And Dean the first time around. And then second time was a second interview by Zoom with Kevin and, well,
All right, so it probably would have been too close to the last Board of
but it
Selectmen.
also was before you guys, it was before the election.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
The horse is out of the barn. I'll make a motion that we approve Lisa Mattern as the town treasurer.
Madden like football.
I'm sorry, Madden like football. Town treasurer, financial officer, and department head for the town of Plainfield.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Sorry, Lisa.
Quite all right.
Okay, so we always look for people to join boards and commissions. At the last minute, we've had a problem with the cancellation of the inland wetlands. Reaching out to people to see if they're interested in taking on that responsibility. And you have in your packet, should have in your packet, Rob Kerr, consider appointing me to the Inland Wetlands Commission. So that's the one we have so far, but I'd like to make action on that.
Yeah, I think he's a good fit for that. I've been on inland wetlands myself, so I'll make a motion to approve Rob Kerr for inland wetlands.
And I will second that. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The last one, it's just something that's recently come up. We wanted to just make sure we at least have it on to the agenda for discussion, in case we need to move forward on it. But there was, as mentioned earlier tonight, there was a need for a roof replacement for the Plainfield bus garage. Right now, we have a tarp over the top. We have 3 companies coming to give us their first verbal of what they could forbid, and then we'll probably have to go out to a sealed bid process. But it could cost up to $45,000, which if we had to go in front of the Board of Finance, we could. In the meantime, just looking up to see a question that came up at the last Board of Finance meeting is where we stand on LoCIP. So once we get that answer as to LoCIP monies, we may have a better way to be able to utilize the LoCIP monies and pay for it. But we still need to be prepared, and we want to make sure we can talk about this. If we need to go to the Board of Finance, are you okay with that for asking when we'll fund that? If LoCIP ends up, we don't have the money.
It's fair enough. Where else are you going to get it from?
Right, the website was down today.
Okay.
Very.
We could always pull this off if we had found out the LoCIP is available, but I would ask if you would consider the request for $45,000 going to the Board of
Well, we can approve it, move forward. If we find that we have the LoCIP, then we just come back to the next meeting and obviously do housekeeping. Yeah, just do some housekeeping when we're done.
Kevin, just where did the 45 figure come from?
It was a guess. We had a couple people who worked on this before and gave us a guess between 30 and 50. And I thought that would be a comfortable number, up to 45.
I'll make a motion to request $45,000 for the roof replacement of the Plainfield bus garage.
I'll second.
So that would be just a modification there, up to 45.
Up to, yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that's it for tonight for Board of Selectmen. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Can you mention something under other?
Oh,
Yeah.
you had something?
Yeah, I just figured that it'd be good for, obviously Mike and I to introduce ourselves. I mean, I'm certainly looking forward to working, with my colleagues here, serving the people of Plainfield. One of the things that I want to try to change in future meetings is trying to get the agendas out in as advance as possible, because we know that sometimes there are reasons why we have to add items to the agenda. We'll always have that possibility, but we definitely want to give the citizens as much time as possible, and of course, we all as Board of Selectmen need time to be reviewing the agenda, and it's very difficult to do when we're adding items to an amended agenda on the day of the meeting. So that's one of the things that I would like to see as a member of the Board of Selectmen. The other thing is with citizen participation. When I knock doors, when I campaign, I know I talked to some people who said that they were kind of turned off about coming to Board of Selectmen meetings because of the fact that they want to address their top elected officials in the town, but basically if they can't get an accurate agenda and see what's on it, they may have a question or a comment that doesn't pertain to the current agenda, and basically they don't want to come to a meeting to get cut off by the Board of Selectmen. I personally don't want to have that kind of reputation of making somebody not want to come to a Board of Selectmen meeting because they have a concern of what's going on in our town, but it may not necessarily be on the agenda. Everybody needs to be obviously responsible. They need to be professional. We're not here to get into debates back and forth as a board, but I think we owe it to the citizens to have the opportunity to speak, and we can certainly give time limits. Like on a night like tonight where we have this many people can't go on for 5 or 10 minutes about whatever their particular topic is. They have to have time limits. They have to be respectful to us as board members. But if somebody wants to come here and say how they're still suffering from the last reval season, and believe it or not, come 26, 27, we're going to be up on another reval season, they may just want to express to us that their quality of life is still struggling right now, regardless of how we have put out a budget in recent years. And I think they should be given that opportunity. We may not be talking about the reval right now or talking about the budget, but I feel that we're the appropriate board that they should be given that opportunity. And I would not want to see them cut off because, well, that's not on the agenda, so they can't talk about it. So that's just one of those things that, again, when I kind of look ahead as the things I think we can do and make ourselves better as a Board of Selectmen, I'd like to see those changes.
Thank you, Tom.
And I agree with Tom. That was two things that I heard out in the trail also, was people obviously angry about the public comment. A couple other things that I was talked about was maybe this new board that we're forming, they can look into the ECC. A lot of people talked about selling of the ECC or not selling of the ECC. So maybe that's something that this board can look into, is what it is, what could it be used for, and how much would it cost to do that. So there's a few other things that I have on the list that I've heard while I was out there that we're going to work on, but that's important, and I think the newly elected members on that board need to look into that building.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Time is now 7:53. I'd like to call this water pollution control meeting to order. Roll call.
Tom Sinkwitz.
Kevin Cunningham.
Mike Supernut.
You were not there. Maybe you were, but anyways, the approval of the minutes of the special WPC meeting dated November 10th.
Yep, I was at that meeting, so I didn't entertain a motion to approve those meeting minutes.
I will second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item D1, consider an act on voting for officers. Again, we go through that process. What's your pleasure?
I make a motion for Kevin Cunningham to be chair.
And Vice?
Oh yeah, for all shot. And Tom Shigwitz to be vice. And Mike Supernut to be secretary.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 2 is the...
I'm sorry, Kevin, did you second that?
Yes.
Item 2, consider an act on proposed 2026 dates. Again, we went through the entire calendar and came up with the proposed dates. This is once a month versus twice like the Board of Selectmen.
I make a motion that we use the dates as proposed.
I'll second that.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'm going to need to ask one thing, and again, this is exactly what we spoke of earlier. 2:40 today, I was approached from Shannon, our grant writer. So what we have is a resolution to be added to the agenda for discussion and a possible vote. This is the DECD, Community Development Grant, for a resolution to accept money from the state of Connecticut to go towards CDECD, to accept to go towards a WPCA facilities plan. We're in the process of doing a bunch of things with the sewer, and we need to have a plan done so that we can do it properly. So this is the first stage of that. So I'd like to add that to the agenda, if possible. I gave you a script.
So, I would like to make a motion that,
To add to this item 3 for the
discuss and act on DECD resolution to section 32-285A to officially file an application for the Plainfield WPCA facilities plan.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
If you wouldn't mind, pass that over to our.
Thank you.
So let's talk about that for 1 second. In your town charter, I think it says a section there that talks about what we have to do if we're applying for a grant, anything over $10,000. While the numbers are very archaic, that's 1984, $10,000. It still has to be a process we go through. So we're looking to apply for the grant for this facilities study, facilities plan. Therefore, we had to put it on the agenda to vote yea or nay to it. So all it is making the action follow the chart. So with that, questions?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Again, if you could just, like I said, if you want me to, I'll make the motion. This makes it easier. So I'd like to make the motion to approve the Department of Economic Community Development grant request, whereas pursuant to section 32-285A, the Connecticut Department of Economic Community Development is authorized to extend financial assistance for economic development projects, and whereas it's desirable and in the public interest of the town of Plainfield to make the application for $250,000 in order to undertake a WPCA facility study. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Water Pollution Control Authority that it is cognizant of the conditions and prerequisites for the state financial assistance imposed by section 32-285A, that the filing of the application for the state financial assistance for the town of Plainfield is in the amount of $250,000, and therefore you have directed and executed that authorization. It's a long resume. So we're applying, making sure we do the application properly.
I could say so moved that.
Okay.
Yeah, so moved. Then, Mike, second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Now, just to give some clarification to it, just in case our facilities plan comes up more than the $250,000, our next WPCA meeting or a special one, we can vote for what we have to do for the additional monies. And they have money, by the way, available in their funds. So I think it was mentioned to me it might be like $70,000 or so more, but they'll verify the numbers with us once we make the application, what the differences are. And we can come back without having to go through a town meeting because they have the money. WPCA does have the money.
Okay.
So we'll discuss that at the next WPCA meeting or a special one. With that said, that's been approved. Any other discussion? Hearing none, a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.